So in this video, we're going to be looking at indicators, and indicators are particularly good because they are a chemical that changes colour depending on what you might have in there. So we're going to look at indicators for pH. pH refers to how acidic something is, or the opposite of acid is base. So how acidic or how basic it is. So the indicator I'm going to start with first is going to be universal indicator. Universal indicator is green when we expose it to water. So at the moment it's mixed with water. It's green, and that shows us that it is pH 7. And we can see on our pH scale, our pH scales, when it's an acid, it's going to go pink. When it's a base, it's going to go purple. So we can add things to it and get it to change colour. So I have here, I'm going to start with the acid, hydrochloric acid. Now my hydrochloric acid, I'm going to add just a couple of drops to my universal indicator. And we're going to watch the colour change. So remember, it's an indicator. It indicates something. In this case, it's indicating that it read that I have an acid. So what I'm going to do now is add a base. Now a base is the opposite of an acid. So here's my base, sodium hydroxide. So here's my sodium hydroxide that I'm going to add. And I'm going to add that. So remember, that's my starting colour. I'm going to leave that in between. I'm going to add sodium hydroxide to my indicator. And you can see that it's going a purple colour. So it's very, very different. I'm going to do it, we might see the change a little bit more if I start off with my clear sodium hydroxide base. And I'm going to add the indicator to it this time. And you can see the change straight away. There we go. That's easier to see that purple colour. So my indicator can tell me whether or not something's an acid or a base. So I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to start off with my, let's test. What have I got? I have some vinegar. So I'm going to test some vinegar. I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar. And I'm going to add my universal indicator. So this is your chance to predict quickly, is it going to be an acid or a base? And you can see it's gone the red colour, just the same as our acid, so therefore our vinegar is an acid. So the indicators we can use, this is a special one we have in the science labs, but you can actually make your own indicator at home. So at home, I'm just going to move everything to one side. What I've done is I have chopped up a whole lot of red cabbage, and I have put it in some liquid. And I now have a purple water. Now this purple water can act just like an indicator. So my red cabbage, that red dye, acts just like an indicator. I now need to strain it. What I've done is I've chopped it all up using something like one of these to chop it all up. And I now need to strain it to get rid of all my lumps. It smells a little bit, just like all cabbage does. Now I don't need a terrible lot of liquid, just enough for me to be able to do what I need to do. Just going to get some more. There we go. That should be enough for what I need. I'm going to move it all to one side and clean up some of my mess. Now I have my purple indicator, which came from my red cabbage. So I'm going to use my indicator and I'm going to make some indicator paper. So this is what I'm going to be doing. Just pour the liquid in like that. Beautiful purple colour. And I have just some absorbent paper. And I'm going to soak my absorbent paper in my indicator. Just like that. And then you can leave it dry. Now when it's all dried, it will go a little bit clear. And just like those cooking shows, I have one I prepared earlier. This is what the finished product. Once it's dried, that's our finished product. Now remember my vinegar. My vinegar we tested before was an acid. What we're going to do is see what happened when we add our vinegar to our cabbage water indicator paper. You see those pink colours coming up? So we have those pink colours. You will see just as much when it's wet. If you can't wait for it to dry, you can do it when it's wet. It will just spread out a little bit more. And you can see our pink dots appearing much more. Now, you don't have to limit yourself to testing with vinegar. This is where you get to be creative with your artwork. I have some lemon. I can have just a drop of lemon on it, lemon juice, and we can see that it's exactly the same as our vinegar. It's an acid. I'm now going to try some bicarb. My bicarb is powder, so I need to convert that into a liquid. So I'm adding a little bit of bicarb to water. Now that I've got all that mixed up, I can add a couple of drops. You can see that it's going a blue colour. And you can see the blue even on the wet one. Other things you might like to try, you might like to try some milk. You might like to try toothpaste. You might like to try soap. You can make artwork from using your pH, just using the cabbage water as indicator. So find out what's an acid, which is the pink colours. Find out what's a base, which is the blue colours. But you can have fun at home doing chemistry and doing artwork as well.